with Salem Reporter called Coffee Breaks. 10
Oh,
minutes updating you on what's happening in the community.
let's do it.
Did I tee it up correctly, Rachel?
I think so, yeah. Hey
All right.
everyone, I'm Rachel Alexander, Salem Reporter's managing editor, here to talk about local news, and I actually have my coffee right here, so there you go.
Kind of a big deal. You might have heard of her. You might have heard of her.
Yeah.
This week's city council meeting, a lot happened. I feel like there are some where you have to kind of like dig for stories a little bit. Not the case
Yeah.
this week. There was a lot going on.
Yeah, this is like how do we triage this over the week? So, um, yeah, we've got a new city manager, same as the old city manager, but she's not an interim anymore. We've got some money going towards some new police, homeless services, and crisis response programs. We've got airport subsidies. Um, yeah. Am I forgetting something? We
I
like
mean,
just
there's a
pop.
lot. I mean, if you cover the entire meeting, but I think those will probably be the key points that we go over today for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
But first, Christian Emery was the interim, now is the official city manager.
yeah.
Unanimously voted, but there's some controversy still around the former city manager no longer being with Salem. So I think there's still some of that dust that is has not settled quite yet.
Yeah, so there, I mean, it's kind of two tracks. Like, there's an ongoing state ethics investigation. We've been covering that, but just really briefly, the Oregon Government Ethics Commission found last week that Mayor Julie Hoy and five Salem City councilors broke state law by discussing the former city manager Keith Staley out of public view. That happened when the mayor basically called everyone to say like, hey, what do you think about this performance evaluation? Some of them gave thoughts or said they hadn't read it yet, and then that all led to Keith Staley resigning kind of abruptly, and it's taken a while for some of what happened there to come out. We've been filing records requests. The Ethics Commission investigation has some more details. We're not done reporting on that, but yeah, so there, it's been funny covering this because I think like some people are kind of conflating like what to me are two very different issues, which is one is like how the council went about this and what happened, and two is like whether Keith Staley was doing a good job as a city manager. And to me, those are different issues because it's like, you can have a conversation in public that's like, hey, we don't like what you're doing. We want you to fix it. Or like, hey, I think we need to go in a new direction, which is not what happened here. So, yeah, so there, as is often the case with the ethics commission, there's a lot of meetings, there's a lot of reports, and probably what's going to come out of this is they get like strongly worded letters saying don't do this again. um, you have to really screw up or do something repeatedly to get fined, usually is the sense I get. And they can still contest that, so lots more to come. But then Christian Umbury has been with the city like forever. um, I mean, over 2 decades, so not actually forever, but um, she's been leading a bunch of different stuff. Her dad actually was a city manager in India. She's got a pretty interesting background, and I should know where, and I don't. But he's kind of been like pushing her in this direction for a while, and then she was kind of resisting it, and now, but she's really well liked and well respected on the council, among city staff, and among like city department leaders, which is hard to do. That's a lot of different constituents and people to please.
When I was hearing her talk about her story, I was thinking of like the classic hero's journey, where you have this person who like resists their call to action. You have this like mentor who seems like it's her father figure in this situation, and now we're at the part of the story where she accepts it. Okay, this is what I'm supposed to do, and she's doing a great job. I mean, being voted unanimously as into this position. It seems like she's working well as far as like being active in the community,
Right.
listening to feedback, working with city council and the staff as well. So it seems like things are firing on all boards.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, if you've been watching like the ethics stuff at all, like some of the counselors and the mayor are not exactly thrilled with each other right now, but like they're all pretty thrilled with Krishna, and I think that's pretty significant for where the city's at. And she took over. I mean, she came in the midst of this kind of ethics scandal mystery about what had happened. And then the city was also trying to get people to approve a property tax increase when like everybody's broke and struggling. Led the city through that, and I think has been kind of the even steady hand that folks were hoping for. So, and we're not me, but my reporters are hoping to sit down with her and kind of do a little more of a profile piece about just some of that background and that cool story and her hero's journey. Maybe
There
we'll
we
frame
go.
it like that. But
Please do. I would love to see that. Also, 680,000 approved for safety and livability programs.
yeah.
Three new pilots are being launched. Is that correct?
Two aren't pilots, they're expansions of existing programs, and then
Okay.
one is a new thing. Yeah, so you want me to break them all down?
So we have the two homeless service team police officers, so expanding from 4 to 7 days a week,
Yep.
which will lead to more outreach, faster encampment responses, and better connections to services. Is the plan for them?
Yep, and that's supposed to roll out in November. Um, yeah, so that's the police side. Then there's also a civilian. They call it SOS team. It's safety and oh
Outreach
my goodness.
services.
Thank you. Yes.
I have
There's
notes.
too
I have
many
notes. I'm
acronyms
cheating.
in
I'm
this
cheating.
meeting. If I were smart, I'd be cheating. There we go. So that's a civilian team that I believe is out of the Parks Department, though don't quote me on that. It's been a minute and they've moved some things around. But they also do kind of encampment cleanup and sweeps and trying to connect people to services. So that team's also 4 days a week and we'll go to 7. So those are kind of tandem things rolling out.
I think that'll be nice because a lot of the complaints that we hear about, like downtown and Northeast Salem, is like there's just places that are kind of dirty, and just having somebody who's consistently keep things clean, and it'll be nice, I think, for everybody. And I think the cleanliness and safety kind of go hand in hand sometimes. Where like if a space is clean, you kind of people will sometimes feel more comfortable. I think.
Yeah, and I mean, having spaces that are clean also, I think, encourages people to keep them that way and take care of them.
Totally.
Yeah, we'll see. Like, it's been quite a while. We did kind of a ride-along thing with the SOS team when it launched, but that was a couple of years back. So we're planning some more kind of in-depth coverage, looking at like what they actually do day to day and how that's received by folks. So if y'all who are watching have suggestions, drop them in the comments too, and we'd love to know what people want to know about what they're doing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And the care team launching as well, which is paramedic, EMT, and mental health professionals.
Jacob, why is there a new acronym? My brain is already full.
We just need more acronyms. If it's not an acronym, like what's the point at this point?
I guess, man. Okay, I'm late
But
to
I
the.
agree. We could do a whole episode on like why does it have to be an acronym, especially coming from corporate America. That was just like a running theme.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like
See, we're all.
we can just call it something. It doesn't need to be letters that mean something.
Yeah, I think that ship has sailed or jumped the shark, as it were. But
Yeah.
yeah, so the new fire department team. So this one actually, we'll keep an eye on it too. But this one does actually need to be approved by Marion County as well because it's a partnership, and they're going to be funding at least part of the mental health aspect of it. So that's going to go before the commissioners, I believe, sometime in November. Um, so look for more reporting there. But basically, the idea is to send out mental health like crisis workers with the fire department. I think like in recent years, people have talked a lot about like police crisis teams, but the fire department gets called to a lot of just like folks who are having a hard time with their brains in public or people who are overdosing or things like that, especially downtown. That's a pretty big chunk of what SFT responds to. So the hope is you get someone who's actually trained to deal with that and that's their expertise, and you can help that person in a more meaningful way than just keeping them alive to the next day or clearing the call. That's going to take a little while longer to launch. I think they're looking at early 26 on that. I think partially because of the county aspect and like having to hire people. I'll be interested to see because the county has ramped up some of its crisis teams in recent years, but a lot of those rollouts went a lot slower than they planned initially because it's really hard to hire crisis workers, or has been in recent. Like everybody wants mental health workers.
Yeah.
So that's something we'll keep an eye on too. But same deal. If y'all have questions or things we should look into, let me know in the comments.
And then we have commercial air service decision as well, where they're going to be redirecting funds. This isn't new funds. It's just money that was already allocated for the airport that now will be used to help recruiting.
Yeah. Everybody's mad on Facebook. Not everybody, but yeah. So I thought what the council did here was interesting because like they've been pretty lukewarm on throwing more money at air service. I think the hope was to kind of have their cake and eat it too. Like we would love to have an airline here, but we got other stuff we need to spend city money on.
Yeah.
So they kind of made that known, and then like Travel Salem and Fly Salem and some hotels and businesses threw together a decent chunk of money, so 1.2 million for airline subsidies. And then I think came back to the city and were like, okay, can you get us to 1.5? So the bulk of the money in this pot is private. I think also something I've seen people misunderstand, or maybe like this is money that's set aside for these subsidies to like get an airline to the table and negotiate, but this money doesn't get spent unless we actually get an airline here and they start flying and like dip into the pot. So, if we aren't able to recruit an airline or things fall through again, that money will still be around for the city to use for stuff.
That's helpful. Rachel, I appreciate you joining us for this coffee break, keeping Salem
Yeah.
informed. It's super helpful.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you all, Salem. Thank you for tuning in. That was an awkward exit, but we're just going to roll with it. It's our first time. You know what I
That's
mean? Have
fine.
some
That's
grace.
fine.
Give us some
Okay.
grace, people. It's our first time.
Yeah. Okay. So we doing this every week now, like 10 minutes?
I
I think
think
this works
so.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think 10 minutes, especially when there's a lot of news and maybe there's a week where it's like, yeah, we can kind of kick it to next week. There's not a lot going on, but I think generally we can find things. There might even be like an event we can talk about that's coming
Yeah.
up, or there's
We
always
have not
something.
we have not had that problem lately, man.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we'll see you next week, Sam. We just decided live that we're doing this every week, so thanks for being part of that. Bye.